Tell me your name and what you do.
Jim Garrett. I'm a volunteer, retired, former teacher.
Tell me about Outward Bound here in Baltimore.
Outward Bound came to Baltimore initially in 1984 thanks to Sally Michael and the Parks and People Foundation. And Parks and People was formed as a collaboration between the mayor's office, Donald Schaefer was mayor at the time, and Chris Delaporte, who was heading the Rec and Parks Department. And Sally was asked if she could do some programming to be of benefit for Rec and Parks. So she was looking around for things to do, she and her supporters, and they heard about, thanks to a contact at Center Stage, whose brother was working for Hurricane Island Outward Bound. They heard about the fact that there was a scholarship for young people from Baltimore area to take Outward Bound courses at Hurricane Island in Maine. And they said, oh, well, maybe we can help with that because the scholarship money wasn't being fully expended. They needed more kids. So she got together with folks at Hurricane Island and said, we'll help get some students. So she raised additional money to go with the scholarship funding, and for 2 summers, 84 and 85, sent about 100 students from Baltimore, Baltimore City County, Anne Arundel County, to Maine for the full 26-day standard Outward Bound C course. That's how things got started. Well, Don Schaefer, Mayor Schaefer, said after hearing the students come back, all excited, as the story goes, the kids they represented a lot of different demographic groups and neighborhoods, and they didn't know each other. Very many of them didn't know each other before, but they did know where York Road was. That was the one thing they had in common. And then the other thing they had in common was that they all got chocolate chip cookies that Sally had made to give them on the bus. They drove in city yellow buses, school buses, to Maine, 11 hours. And so by the time they got there, they'd begun bonding with each other. And when they got back, they were asked to come to the city council and tell the city council about their experience. And one of the things that they are quoted as having said is, we're back, we've bonded with each other. Now, what can we do? We want to be useful. And so that convinced the mayor that Outward Bound was a good deal, and why don't we do it in Maryland? So I remember vividly a meeting with Sally Michael and Peter Willauer, who was the director of Hurricane Island Outward Bound, and they were saying, Don Schaefer, Mayor Schaefer says, why are we sending kids to Maine? There's no reason why we have to send them to Maine. We've got the mountains, we've got the bay, we've got rivers, we've got the Appalachian Trail going through Maryland. Why do we have to send them to Maine? Well, that led to the establishment of the Baltimore Chesapeake Bay Outward Bound program, which was staffed and run by Hurricane Island Outward Bound, but it was financed by fundraising efforts done by Parks and People, going out to get money from individuals and corporations and foundations to provide the funding needed to run the program here. So that first courses that were run from Baltimore were in 1986. And then continuing under the umbrella, the aegis of Parks and People up until really about 1998, 1999, when the advisory board to the Baltimore program, which was a sub-board of the Hurricane Island Board and closely connected with Parks and People, felt that they could begin to go on their own. But not until 2004 did the Baltimore program and the Philadelphia program, which was started as an offshoot of the Baltimore program and was run initially by the same director, David Starnes, who was the Baltimore Outward Bound director. Once the Philadelphia program got up and running, they named their own director. But the two Mid-Atlantic groups decided that they were well enough established that they no longer needed to be an offshoot of the Hurricane Island School, and they came directly under the Outward Bound National Board to be operated from that board and operation. And that continued until 2011, when Baltimore Chesapeake Bay Outward Bound School became a separately chartered organization with its own 501c3 and its own governing board.
So that was a big